The air was thick, almost suffocating. Each breath felt like inhaling a cloud, heavy and damp. A cold fog rolled in, blanketing everything in gray. The world around me transformed into a ghostly landscape where shadows danced and reality seemed to blur. I walked along a cobblestone street, the stones slick with moisture. Each step echoed in the eerie silence, a reminder of my solitude. The buildings were dark and unfamiliar, looming like silent sentinels. Where was I? The fog distorted my sense of direction, making every turn feel like a step deeper into a labyrinth. I walked for what felt like hours, though time seemed to lose its meaning in the fog. The path ahead was endless, stretching into the unknown. The fog seemed to grow thicker with each passing moment, swallowing the world around me. It was as if the mist had a life of its own, creeping closer, enveloping me. I could barely see my hand in front of my face. The dense fog obscured everything, turning familiar shapes into ghostly apparitions. A shiver ran down my spine. Something felt wrong, deeply unsettling. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional rustle of unseen creatures. I wanted to turn back, to run, but the fog had erased my tracks, leaving me disoriented and unsure of the way home. But something compelled me forward, deeper into the fog, deeper into the unknown. It was as if an invisible force was guiding me, urging me to uncover the secrets hidden within the mist. I was lost and alone, a solitary figure in a world transformed by the fog. The landscape was unrecognizable, a maze of shadows and whispers. I pressed on, hoping to find a way out, or perhaps a new beginning. A sound reached my ears, a soft whisper. I stopped, my heart pounding in my chest. I strained to hear. Was someone there? The whisper came again, louder this time, closer. It seemed to swirl around me, carried on the fog. I couldn't make out any words. Fear tightened its grip. I was being watched, I was sure of it, but by who or what? Ahead, a faint light flickered, a doorway, beckoning me closer. I hesitated, fear warring with curiosity. I had to find out who was whispering to me. I stepped through the doorway and into a dusty room. A single flickering candle illuminated a tarnished mirror on the wall, and in the mirror I saw it, a face, pale and drawn, with eyes that seemed to burn with a cold fire. It wasn't my reflection. It was standing behind me. Section 4. Frozen in fear. Terror shot through me, rooting me to the spot. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. I could only stare at the apparition in the mirror. The face in the mirror moved closer. Its eyes locked onto mine. I could feel its icy breath on the back of my neck. Its lips moved, forming words I couldn't hear, but I could sense the malice in its gaze, the hatred in its eyes. Section 5. Waking to the shadows. I jolted awake, my heart racing. The room was suffocatingly dark, and I could feel the weight of the shadows pressing down on me. My breath came in short, panicked gasps as I tried to make sense of my surroundings. My sheets were damp with sweat. It felt like I had been running for miles, but I hadn't moved an inch. The cold, clammy fabric clung to my skin, a stark reminder of the terror I had just experienced. The room was dark, but the shadows seemed to dance and twist, mocking my fear. They moved with a life of their own, creating grotesque shapes that seemed to reach out towards me. I could almost hear them whispering, their voices a sinister chorus in the silence. The dream felt so real. It was as if I had been transported to another world, one where the boundaries between reality and nightmare were blurred. My mind struggled to separate the two, leaving me in a state of confusion and dread. The fog, the whispers, they were all so vivid. I could feel the cold mist on my skin, hear the faint, eerie murmurs that seemed to come from all around me. It was like being trapped in a waking nightmare, unable to escape. The face in the mirror, it was my own but distorted, twisted by fear and anguish. The eyes staring back at me were wide and unblinking, filled with a terror that mirrored my own. It was a reflection of my deepest fears brought to life in the darkness. It was like a nightmare, but so much more vivid, so much more terrifying. Every detail was etched into my mind with a clarity that was both horrifying and mesmerizing. I could feel the fear coursing through my veins, a relentless tide that threatened to overwhelm me. I tried to shake off the lingering dread. I rubbed my face, hoping to dispel the images that haunted me. But the fear clung to me, a persistent shadow that refused to be banished. It was just a dream. Just a dream. I repeated the words to myself, a mantra to ward off the terror. But the memory of the nightmare was too fresh, too real. It lingered in the corners of my mind, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked within. But deep down, a part of me wasn't so sure. The line between dream and reality had been blurred, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows were still watching, waiting for the moment to strike again. Section 6. Searching for answers. The next day, the dream clung to me like a shroud. The face in the mirror haunted my thoughts. Who was it, and what did it want? I tried to rationalize it away. Perhaps it was stress or a stray thought that had taken root in my subconscious. But the feeling of unease persisted. I began to research dreams, their meanings and interpretations. I scoured old books and websites, searching for anything that could shed light on my experience. Section 7. The Lingering Presence. This is a tale that has haunted me for as long as I can remember. It all began with a dream, or so I thought. A dream that felt so real, it left an indelible mark on my soul. Days turned into weeks, but the dream refused to fade. Each night as I closed my eyes, I was transported back to that eerie place. The passage of time did nothing to dull the vividness of the experience. Instead, it seemed to grow stronger, more insistent. The face in the mirror became a recurring nightmare, each time more vivid, more terrifying than the last. It was as if the figure was trying to communicate with me, to tell me something important. But what? The more I saw it, the more I felt a deep, unsettling connection to it. I started seeing things in the corner of my eye, shadows that moved when they shouldn't, figures that disappeared when I turned to look directly at them. It was as if my dream was bleeding into my reality, making it hard to distinguish between the two, hearing whispers in the dead of night. They were faint at first, almost imperceptible, but as the nights wore on they grew louder, more insistent. They seemed to be calling my name, beckoning me to follow them into the darkness. Was it my imagination, or was the ghost from my dream seeping into my waking life? The line between dream and reality blurred, leaving me in a constant state of unease. I began to question my sanity, wondering if I was losing my grip on reality. I'm left with a chilling question. What if the dream was not just a figment of my imagination, but a glimpse into another realm? A realm where the spirits of the past linger, waiting for someone to acknowledge their presence. Was it just a dream, or a terrifying premonition? I may never know, but the fear it instilled in me was real, and it has stayed with me ever since. I started keeping a journal, documenting every detail of the dream and the strange occurrences that followed. But one thing is certain, I'll never look in a mirror the same way again. Every time I see my reflection, I can't help but wonder if the ghostly figure is still there, lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to make its presence known once more.